Hello everyone and welcome back to STW Sports, and today I'm going to be looking at every Premier League club and going over who I think will become a manager in the future. This is a very interesting one to do. I really had some fun researching this. I'm going to get straight on with it anyway, going in alphabetical order. Arsenal, Socrates. I mean, it's difficult to choose from Arsenal. I mean, to be fair, when he was playing, I probably wouldn't have said Mikel Arteta was going to be a manager, so this one's kind of a wild guess. I look through the Arsenal team, though, and I'd probably say Socrates. I can see him managing a Greek team when he's older. Socrates looks like that sort of guy with an attitude who he would become a manager. So, yeah, I can definitely see Socrates managing someone in the Greek league or something along them lines. He just strikes me as that type of guy. I just couldn't think of anyone else either, so yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Socrates. Aston Villa, Ahmed El-Hamadi. I mean, again, El-Mohammadi, I could just see him managing an Egyptian club or something. I'm not really sure he's the managerial type, El-Mohammadi, but he just strikes me as someone who just would become a manager. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm looking through them Villa players. I just think El-Mohammadi seems the obvious to manage some club out in Egypt or something like that. Yeah, Brighton, Matt Ryan. Yeah, not an easy one with Brighton. I mean, I could have probably said Neil Maupay. God, can you imagine him as a manager? But yeah, I'm probably going to say Matt Ryan. Again, probably a club out in Australia or something. He just strikes me as Matt Ryan who would become a manager. Matt Ryan's a very good pro in goal for Brighton, has been for a couple of years, and I can just see him taking that into management. He just strikes me as someone when I look at him who will become a manager. Burnley, Jack Cork. This one was tough. I mean, Burnley, they've got a lot of good professionals in their team, Burnley. Sean Dyche has got a group of players who are they give it their all every week, to be fair. Okay, they're struggling this season, but still. A very good group of professionals. But I do look through, and other than possibly Ben Mee, the only other one I think is Jack Cork. But Jack Cork does strike me as someone who will be a manager, probably in like League One or League Two. Probably that sort of calibre of manager in the lower leagues. Again, he just is the only one I can really think of. Jack Cork is a great pro, though, so I can see this one happening. Chelsea, wow, Kepa. No, I'm joking. It's not Kepa. It is Thiago Silva. I mean, Kepa's already the manager, so he doesn't need to be one in the future, does he? But yeah, jokes aside, Thiago Silva. Again, Chelsea only signed Thiago Silva in the summer, but I do look through Chelsea and think Thiago Silva's probably the guy who will become a manager. I can see Thiago Silva managing someone maybe starting out in the Brazilian league or perhaps even PSG or somewhere as a long shot. I mean, Pirlo started out Juventus, so you never know. So I can see him managing somewhere, Thiago Silva. He's got that sort of, stance about that. I do think he will become a manager for some reason. But yeah, looking for him, I'm gonna say Thiago Silva from Chelsea. They have got a couple of possible candidates, but I'm definitely gonna go Thiago Silva. Crystal Palace, James McCarthy. This one's very random, and people are probably going to be like, what, James McCarthy, a manager? But no, to be fair, James McCarthy, he looks like he will become a manager. Again, a bit like Jack Cork, of someone in like League One or League Two. His career's been pretty much like ruined by injuries, James McCarthy. He's only about 30, so I think that in a few years, he'll pack up his grit and go into management. I just generally see that with McCarthy. It's a random thought, but I can see it happening. I mean, I look through Palace team and I don't see anyone else who will become a manager other than Jim McCarthy. He just strikes someone who, because he's had so many injuries, will take it up. Everton, Fabian Delph. To be fair, I've watched Man City's Amazon documentary, and Fabian Delph is a leader in the dressing room. He may, in terms of ability, be nowhere near most Man City players, but in the dressing room, he is a leader. In the Centurion season, he does show off leadership skills, so I think he can take that into management. Delph, he's a very average player, Delph, and even though the hype he had around him when he was younger, he is a very good pro though. He always puts in a shift. He does whatever's asked of him. He's a manager's dream. I could see Delph taking that into his future, and I think he'll manage someone maybe in the Championship, maybe that sort of level where he will take them sort of leadership, maybe Premier League, like a push maybe. But yeah, I think Fabian Delph, and I look for Everton, will be a manager in the future. He's the one I can see. Fulham, Alexander Mitrovic. I mean, I couldn't really imagine Mitrovic as a manager. He'd be absolutely crazy. But when I say Mitrovic as a manager, I mean that I can see him possibly managing out in, I don't know, like, it may be the Belgian league or somewhere far abroad, even like the Egyptian league or the Turkish league or something. He's just got that sort of attitude about him, Mitrovic, where can you imagine him riling up his players? I mean, he'd be absolutely insane to work under for the, bit like Diego Simeone type. I think he'd just be crazy. But yeah, I can possibly see this happening. And to be honest, I look through Fulham's team and I don't know anyone else who can become a manager. Possibly Tom Kearney of Fulham. That's the only one I could really think of. But yeah, I'm going to definitely Mitrovic. I just think he'd be a manager who would suit the Turkish league or something like that. God, can you imagine him in like Fenerbahce Besiktas games or something? Jesus Christ. But yeah, Leeds United, Pablo Hernandez. I think this one's fairly obvious. Not obvious at least, but Pablo Hernandez is a really good pro. He's 35 now, roughly. I can see Pablo Hernandez going into management, probably in the Spanish league, maybe the second tier or something once he packs it up. He just looks like that sort of guy who would. He's a great pro. And I just see Pablo Hernandez becoming a manager of someone in the Spanish first, maybe mid-table La Liga or the second tier or something like that. He just has that sort of feel about him. Leicester City, Wes Morgan. It was a difficult one between Wes Morgan and Jamie Vardy. The only reason I don't say Jamie Vardy is Jamie Vardy's got one of the most inspirational stories in football. There's no doubt in that. But as a manager, I don't know how he'd be in a dressing room. I mean, when you look at Vardy's obviously, career and the whole twists and turns it's had, it'd be great to work under for motivation, but I just don't see him as a manager the way he'd be. And I think Wes Morgan though would be a perfect manager for a team, maybe even like Leicester. Wes Morgan. I'm not saying he'll go to the top into the Premier League, but Wes Morgan strikes someone. He is a great leader, Wes Morgan. He's proven that at Leicester. He's won the Premier League with them. He is a very good leader, so I can see Morgan becoming a manager in the future. I'm not sure where, but he just has that look about him that he will do well. Liverpool, James Milner. I mean, this one's kind of debatable because, Milner as a manager, can you imagine the press conferences? It'd be, not to mock the more boring James Milner thing, but I think it could be a little bit dull. But yeah, look, Milner is someone I can see being a manager. Milner's a great role model for footballers, and he's, even at his age now, he is still a good player, and he's just a great role model all round. So I think Milner could become a manager. I'm not sure how well he'd do as a manager. I couldn't always see James Milner getting angry maybe, but that's stuff I'd have said about Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard, but I can see Milner becoming a manager just because the role model he is, and I don't think Milner will just give up on football once he retires. I do think it's in his livelihood, so I'll see him going into management, I reckon. Manchester City, Sergio Aguero. It was tough for Man City. I don't look around that team and see many managerial candidates. Vincent Kompany would have been perfect when he was there, maybe David Silva, but I'm going to go for one of the other old guys in Sergio Aguero. The reason I say Aguero is because I can see him managing out in Argentina. He said for a while he wants to finish his career in Argentina. I can see him becoming a manager instantly in Argentina. He's got a great attitude, Aguero, as we all know. He's a great pro. I can see Aguero becoming a manager and maybe coming to the Premier League one day. Maybe even managing Man City, who knows. But yeah, Aguero is the one in the team I think does strike me as he will become a manager in the future. Manchester United, Juan Mata. Again, difficult with Man United. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was playing, I'd never have said he'd become a manager. He looked like the last person who'd have become a manager. So this just proves a lot of these predictions are probably going to be wrong and someone random's going to become the manager. But Man United, though, Juan Mata is a fantastic pro. No matter if you like or dislike Manchester United, you have to. I think everyone pretty much likes Juan Mata. He's someone who's universally respected. Mata is a very good player as well. I think Mata is someone who really would suit becoming a manager, probably in the Spanish league. But imagine Juan Mata didn't do well as a manager. That'd be kind of heartbreaking because everyone loves Juan Mata. So yeah, no one wants to see him suffer. But yeah, I think Juan Mata would be great to become a manager. Newcastle, Matt Ritchie. This one's random. I just think Matt Ritchie just looks like someone who'll become a manager. I don't know why. Probably in the Scottish league or something. He just looks like someone who will just be a manager. I don't know why. I just look at him and he's got that look about him. It's very random, I know. I don't see anyone in the Newcastle team who is going to become one. So yeah, I'm just going to go with Matt Ritchie. Random, I know, but yeah. Sheffield United, Billy Sharp. I think this one's more of an obvious one in the list, really. I can see Billy Sharp become manager of Sheffield United. He's been through the leagues with them. He's stuck with them through thick and thin. I think Billy Sharp will become probably Sheffield United manager one day. I can just see it. He's got He's such a good pro as well. He's got that thing about him where I just see him being a good manager as well. I do think he'll be a solid manager. Maybe not at the top or anything, but I'm talking like championship teams maybe. But yeah, I can see him being a decent manager. But more of an obvious one in the list. The only other possible candidate is Phil Jagielka. I do think Jagielka would be a good manager, but I see Jagielka more going in the punditry role more than anything. Other than this, we got Southampton, Yannick Vestergaard. It was difficult for Southampton. I don't see players like James Ward-Prowse and Nathan Redmond being managers, so Vestergaard is someone who'll probably manage in the Danish league or the Austrian league or something like that. I don't know. It's a difficult one to really choose, but Vestergaard, if I look at anyone, is probably the guy who I can see being a manager and being authoritative. He's very much improved as a defender this season as well, but yeah, in terms of, I do think in the future we'll see him as a manager. Tottenham Hotspur, Toby Alderweireld. Again, I can really see Alderweireld managing in like the Belgian league or something like that. Again, I mean, obviously I go on about Man City's documentary earlier on. I watched Tottenham's documentary and, I mean, I listened to the likes of Harry Kane, who is a captain, and just thought, you know, I love Harry Kane, great player and everything like that, but I don't see him ever being a manager and stuff like that. Toby Alderweireld strikes me as someone who will become a manager in the future. He just has that thing about him. I'm going to say Alderweireld will manage somewhere in the Belgian league or something like that, and he might make his way over to England eventually. But yeah, Alderweireld is my prediction in the Tottenham team to become a manager, and he's got Jose Mourinho there right now, so who better to learn from? West Bromwich Albion, Branislav Ivanovic. I mean, Ivanovic is someone I can literally... From West Brom, it's the easiest choice in the list in terms of who they play for, and, you know, I look through West Brom's team, and Ivanovic is literally stands out so much, because he's won trophies all his career. He's been a great player in the Premier League, one of the best right backs I think we've ever seen in the Premier League as well. For me, Ivanovic he's got manager written all over him. I honestly think he's got manager written on him, and I think that he will become a good manager. Probably starting out somewhere in like Serbia or Croatia. Then we'll obviously see how his future goes. I'm not too sure, but that's how I see it starting. West Ham United, Mark Noble. I mean, this one's a bit debatable. I don't really think Mark Noble would suit over a manager. Again, it was hard to pick from West Ham, but Mark Noble is someone I can see. I mean, look, Mark Noble's been a great leader for West Ham over the last decade or so. So I can see him becoming a manager. Maybe of West Ham, it depends obviously on how well he does. But I see Noble going to lower clubs maybe. It'd be weird if he didn't manage someone like West Ham because he's been there so long and he pretty much is Mr. West Ham. But I can really see Noble becoming a manager out in this West Ham team, even though it's a debatable one because he's not exactly a leader. But yeah, it's up for debate, this one, but we'll see. Wolverhampton Wanderers, João Moutinho. Yeah, finishing off with probably quite an obvious one. João Moutinho just got the look of him of someone who will become a manager. Moutinho's done so much in his career, obviously, and he's kind of winding down the clock a little bit now at Wolves, even though he's still a good player. He's not starting as many games. Moutinho, I can see managing someone in Portugal. I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, Moutinho, in terms of a character, he's a massive character or anything, but I can see him becoming a manager. Again, the likes of Paul Scholes has become a manager, and he wasn't the biggest character as a player. I'm not comparing the two, but, you know, it just shows you can become one. But, yeah, that's my list for every Premier League club and who I think will become a manager when they're older. I mean, very, very debatable this. A lot of them probably aren't going to come true. It's probably going to be random players you'd never expect. That's usually the way management works. And as we've learned in the past, especially with Gary Neville, just because you're a good player does not mean you'll be a good manager. Sorry, Gary Neville. But yeah, that is my list overall. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with more content. Thank you very much.